In this tutorial, we're going to learn how to build a customized widget. In our previous tutorial, we talked about building a customized dashboard, and dashboards are where we find these widgets, though they can be exported to custom reports. However, we'll start out in dashboards. Here is a screenshot of the dialog box that we'll be working with in a little bit. For now, let me go through the basics right here. You don't need to worry about the widget title, though you can change it to whatever you like, but this is going to self-populate depending on the dimensions and the metrics you choose. You see two types of views here, standard and real-time. Standard will give you metrics over time, if that's what you choose, and real-time is only going to give you a snapshot of what your traffic is at the actual moment that you are looking at the report. In the majority of cases, then, you'll want to be working with the standard views and not the real-time views. Only if you have a ton of traffic going to that site are you going to want to be looking at real-time views. Let's look at the views of the data within the standard category. Metric is a single number, so you're just going to get a single number if you choose a metric. A timeline is a set of single numbers graphed out over time, typically in a line graph. A geomap is a map of the end users and where they come from, and as parts of the map darken, that means you have more individuals in that spot looking at your site. Table is one of my favorites. This gives you two or more metrics and a dimension to work with, and we'll talk about metrics and dimensions in just a second. And then pie and bar are simply types of charts, which I'm sure you are already well aware of. So you can see your data in a pie chart or a bar chart. These next two pieces of the puzzle are very important, dimensions and metrics, since these are the two primary variables you'll be working with when building a customized widget. Dimensions are attributes of your site or of the end users. So attributes would be things like what city that end user is in, what browser they're using, what device they're using. And these will generally be rows on a table if you're working in table view. Metrics are numbers. Metrics are countable things, quantifiable things. Things like sessions, page views, bounce rates, users, and so on. So you use dimensions and metrics to build the widget. And with that said, let's jump into analytics itself and build a widget. Here is the home page for analytics. Whenever I want to go back here, I click this icon in the upper left-hand corner. Please be aware that Google moves its tools around all the time. So when I show you a spot on the analytics dashboard, it might be at a different spot next week. That said, here are all of the websites currently in my analytics dash. You will probably have quite a few less than I do. I'm going to go to the Office of Engagement site. I'm going to click All Web Data. Here is the dash that shows up as my default dash. You'll see there are no active users right now, which is a good reason, as I mentioned before, for not using the real-time widgets, but rather work over a period of time for your widgets. If I go to Customization, here are the customized dashboards where we'll find the ability to create new widgets. Here are the three dashboards I have for this site, the Office of Engagement site. I'll click my main dash. The Add Widget button is up here in the upper left-hand corner. Before I use this, however, I'm going to change my period of time here by using this pull down. I believe that we put analytics on this site on July 9th of last year. So I'll quickly pull in July 9th and get the entirety of this site's data since we started tracking it via analytics. I'll click Apply. My numbers shoot up, as you see, and now I will click the Add Widget button. And here we have the dialog box we saw previously as a screenshot in our PowerPoint presentation. Let's continue. Here we have the widget title. Again, you don't have to fill this in, though you can. The metrics and the dimensions that you choose for this report will populate that widget title. Here are the views. We talked about these during the PowerPoint section of this presentation. I'm going to choose table. In a lot of cases, I recommend choosing table simply because you can drill down a little further into the data and get more data inside this widget by working in table view. When I go to table view, I get dimensions and I get metrics. So we're going to add grab one dimension and then add several metrics to it. So I'll click dimension. There are a lot of options here for dimensions, so I recommend skipping the scroll down and simply searching for what you want. I'm going to type in page. There are a lot of different types of pages to create as a dimension: destination pages, exit pages, landing pages. We'll stick with the simplest and go for page. And again, even by typing in the search term, I have to scroll down quite a bit to get here. So be patient when you're looking for dimensions and for metrics. We'll add our metrics next. We only get to work with 2 metrics here. If you want to work with multiple metrics, because 2, frankly, isn't a whole lot, you can do that in customized reports, which we'll deal with after we work with this session. For now, I'm going to grab my first metric and I'll make it users. So I'll type in users, and here are my search results. I'll choose users, and then I'll choose bounce rate. Bounce rate, if you don't know, is the percentage of people that bounce off your page after they get to that page. So if they go to that page and either go off the internet or go to another site entirely, that counts as a bounce. Your bounce rate is the percentage of people who bounce off that page. We'll work with a 10-row table. You can add a filter to say show simply Chrome users, show simply mobile users, that kind of thing. We'll just stick with page, users, and bounce rates here and click save. And then we'll scroll to the bottom, and here we have the table we've just created, users and bounce rates by page. So this tells me that my front page, that / is by far my most popular page, and about 75% of the people who come to the homepage of this site bounce off. That's not an incredibly high bounce rate, though it is rather high. VPE staff is my most popular page, a slightly lower bounce rate. And my third most visited page, the Office of Community and Economic Development, has a nice low bounce rate of 42%. Ditto with the Provost Council Engagements Awards with a 30% bounce rate. So by comparing users, the popularity of your page, and bounce rate, the ability of your page to draw end users deeper into that page, you can get a good snapshot of how the pages on your site are performing. One more note, and I'll bring this tutorial to a close. If you want to edit anything on your widget, simply hover over it, and you'll see this pencil in the upper right-hand corner. Click that. You can adjust your views, adjust your dimensions, adjust your metrics. In this case, I'm going to link it to a report, which will be a nice segue to our next tutorial, which is building customized reports. Any existing report you can type in here, and it sees I have an end of year report. So I'll simply click that and click save. And this widget is now saved to my end of year report.